I made a video the other day talking about how many Mario Kart World tracks that there is actually going to be. Not only do we have 30 tracks that we know of, there's also the opportunity to play a lot of these tracks backwards depending on the actual tour or race that you're in. And on top of that, there's going to be over 118 different intermission tracks. So there's a lot of different tracks in this game. On top of that, some of the intermission tracks in the game actually have retro-themed mini tracks around the real tracks on this map, meaning you could run into things like SNES Ghost Valley. And we've even seen a glimpse of SNES Vanilla Lake in the ice region and SNES Choco Island right outside of Choco Mountain. But still, on top of all of that, what if I told you that there's even more to those base 30 tracks that we've seen already? Now, some people might not know this, but it seems to be pretty much common knowledge right now that this game is going to be reusing some tracks. Well, at least some people thought that they were reusing tracks for multiple cups. It seems they're using different variants of tracks. Here in the Mushroom Cup, we can see Crown City as one of the tracks that's a part of this cup. Funny enough, if we go to the Shell Cup, you'll see that Crown City looks completely different here. There's now some type of back alley with some type of rail going through the middle of the alley, almost reminding me of Sonic Adventure 2's Escape from the City entrance level. But I guess the question is, why are there two different variants of Crown City? Well, the Mushroom Cup has you entering the city from the north side, which takes you right through the heart of the major part of the city, with the towers and the skyscrapers, where in the Shell Cup, it actually has you entering the city from the east side. And that side doesn't take you through the main part of the city. It's more on the outer skirts and around the skate park area. But we also have gameplay of both variants of this track. This is the one from the Nintendo Treehouse that we've seen already.
There's people cheering in the sidelines there.
You can just see all these banners are up, Mario Kart TV, really cool stuff. Oh, okay. Wow, look at you going in.
Yeah, you're really, I know. You're
making me proud.
It's really fun to do.
And it looks like all your competition's starting to catch up behind you here.
Yeah, I was gonna
Not
say
over yet. You still you gotta hold that position.
I was gonna say this a little bit earlier, but like in Mario Kart 8.
Oh!
nice try.
This game is not gonna wait for me to speak.
No. Every time it happens, you're like, nope, nope.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
Can you?
Oh.
I respect it. I respect what you're trying to do there.
Still
You can hold
got
it.
it.
that.
Still got it.
And thanks to Boss Guy on YouTube, he pointed me to this video from Paul Gale Network that shows off the second variant of this track. A lot of people have told me that the gameplay that we've seen of Peach Stadium has all been from the second variant, and we haven't seen the first variant yet. But here's the demo gameplay of this variant.
20 monedas en Mario Kart World. Y es buen consejo, nunca ignoren las monedas. Yo sé que mucha gente aspira a estar en primeros lugares, pero creo que siempre lo mejor es justo el tener consideración las monedas. Véanlos, están peleándose el tú por tú, los pechazos. La vaquita se mantiene en primer lugar. Vaquita está a punto de hacer la faena, pero llegó un Bu y le dijo, Hostia la ver.
Just to show some proof, here's a picture of the variant that we've already saw from the gameplay I just showed you, and this seems to be variant number 2, as variant number 1 is shown as one of the first tracks we'll race on in the earlier cups. This is the Shell Cup, and it shows what seems to be the underneath of Peach's castle, the Peach Stadium terminal, if anything, which is the roadways that run on the outside and underneath the main track sections. From this first variant, we see it coming through the front of Peach's castle, and from that second variant gameplay that we seen in a demo that takes you through the top of Peach's castle, thanks to Mario Wiki and adding up all the info that we've collected so far, we now know that the special cup will follow this pattern, taking us all the way from the north side of the map of Acorn Heights through Mario Circuit, and then taking us through Peach Stadium through the north side this time around, and also following up to Rainbow Road as the last track. Now it's hard to tell how incredibly accurate this is, considering the fact that if you look at that path, it goes through Moo Moo Meadows as well. Are we just skipping Moo Moo Meadows? I don't know, but still, it does seem like we'll be coming in through probably the north part of Peach Stadium, since we're already going through the south part on the other variant. Now with those 2 extra variants, that gives us a total of 32 tracks, which is a nice round number for all the cups. But I say no. That is definitely not it, because there's evidence of 3 other tracks that brings up some suspicions. Now I've also been informed that Peach Beach might be another track that has a variant, and this was discovered by Karting All Day on YouTube, who actually came up with this theory based on a couple of images from Nintendo. Now from what we've seen so far of Peach Beach, we've only seen the path that goes outside of this giant castle, that reminisces exactly what we gotten from Double Dash, that pretty much just takes us around the outside of the castle, down towards the beach, and back to the outside of the castle again. And here's some gameplay from Tris Valbuena showing off a section of Peach Beach that they seem to be just driving through from a knockout tour. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually part of the real track that they're just driving straight through to get to the next one, because it does look like they're going on the exact same path, but just in reverse, that we've known and loved from Peach Beach. And once again, notice how they're not going anywhere near the castle here. And Karting All Day mentions how there's a scene where they show Mario driving through what seems to be an underpass, and you can see the castle beams above Mario's head in this left picture. And in one of the demo gameplays, he actually finds a mini-map for this track that actually shows what the map looks like, which looks a lot different, and it has bends, turns, and even loops that looks like it takes place up in the castle area. Now this seems to be a separate alternate track. Now there could be a case for maybe the actual section that looks like the classic Peach Beach is just an intermission track, and Peach Beach is completely changed. I doubt that though, because every track we've seen so far that made a return, even if it did get a bit of a change, it always had its original track in that form. So I highly doubt that the original Peach Beach is just an intermission this time around, and the new Peach Beach is something completely different. It just doesn't make sense. And the only other possible thing it could be is if for some reason the third lap then takes you up into the castle or something, if you're playing in versus mode, and maybe that's just the thing. Maybe there's extra different paths in the different laps based on the versus mode that you play on these tracks with the different laps compared to the intermission tracks, which could take you through different paths of that same track. It's confusing, it's crazy, I know, but it just gets even crazier. Now some of you might know this and some of you might not know this yet, but if you don't, Mario Circuit in this game is a combination of all the Mario circuits from the SNES, 1, 2, and 3. Each lap you'll race on a different version, which is pretty cool. They're all connected onto this one giant track. After one time around one of those circuits, it'll be lap 1. You'll move on to the next one, lap 2, and to the final one, and that'll be lap 3. But someone informed me that they've seen gameplay in demos of the fact that you can actually choose to race around just one of these if you want to in versus mode. They've also said that they've seen a version of a tour that ended after the intermission into just one of these circuit tracks, not this entire thing, which is pretty interesting. So that tells me that if you choose Mario Circuit in versus mode, it'll then prompt you to choose how you want to race on it. Do you want to race on all 3 of the circuits? Do you want to race on the first one or the second one or just the third one, which is pretty cool. Something else that I noticed was from DK Spaceport, there seems to be an intermission track that takes you underneath DK Spaceport, which I'm wondering if there are different paths for this track as well. Do we have to take the path that we've seen in the treehouse? I mean, we even have Robo DK at the bottom of this part throwing barrels. And even things like SNES's Koopa Troopa Beach looks extremely basic from what we've seen so far. And I'm wondering if this is just one section off portion, just like Mario Circuit, where you can actually just race on one of those circuits. Maybe this is the same thing here, where the other circuits are off in the background out of the inner fenced area. So what does that mean for the game? Are there more than 32 tracks? Is Nintendo hiding some future cups, or maybe updates for extra cups, or even DLC where they add some more? Hopefully it's free DLC. But either way, it looks like Nintendo is still hiding a lot of information when it comes to some of these tracks, and it does make me wonder if any of the other tracks will have multiple different variants as well. Maybe each track is more like a point of interest, or POI, where it's just one giant region full of multiple different tracks within that area. So who knows? We'll know very soon when the game actually launches here in just under a month, and I can't wait to dive in and see if these theories are correct. But let me know what you think down below. Do you think we're crazy? Is there even more information that maybe you know that I don't know? Let me know for sure, and just let me know how excited you are for potentially even more tracks that we know of so far, with all the intermissions and the classic tracks as intermissions and extra variants of tracks that we already have. This game seems like it is going to be packed full of track content. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.